Hello and welcome back to another tutorial for the 2D RPG kit, and this time I would like to show you how to set up areas with random encounters and different enemy teams, as well as go over how you can create your very own enemies. I have prepared a small overworld scene where the player can walk around and find in random occurring battles against random teams of enemies. And in order for this to work, we need to define a battle area by going in our project Prefabs and dragging the battle area prefab into our scene. Alternatively, you can just right-click the scene hierarchy and choose the battle area from the 2D RPG Kit context menu. Once the battle area is in your scene, you will get this red trigger zone that will contain our enemy teams. And with Edit Collider, we can bring the trigger into the size we need. I will just make it cover the whole island. Now, in the inspector, we need to do some adjustments. Down in the battle starter script, we can now enter the encounter rate of this battle area for the 3 different difficulty settings. You can change the game's difficulty by going into the game manager through the 2D RPG Kit menu. And inside the Debugging tab down here, you can see what difficulty is currently active. The player is able to choose the difficulty from the title screen when starting a new game, so that you have to provide the settings for all 3 options. Alright, back to the battle area, we can now say that the easy encounter rate is 5, normal is 4, and hard is 3, for example. Now, how the encounter rate works is that the higher the entered number is, the higher the average time to encounter an enemy will be. And that's why the easier setting should have a higher number than the normal and hard setting. Next, the random battles represent the different enemy teams inside the battle area. So let's expand the list by 1 so that this battle area will contain 2 different enemy teams. If we now expand the first element, we can define the first team. And the size refers to the number of enemies inside this team. So the battle system is set up in a way that allows up to 6 enemies in a single team. I will make this team consist of 3 enemies, so inside these 3 elements we only need to enter the enemies. The 2D RPG kit comes with a variety of predefined enemies which you can find in the Prefabs folder under Battle and Enemies. From here, just pick any enemy you like and enter the name in the battle area. For this team, I want to have 2 slimes and a bee, for example. With reward XP, you can define how much XP the character should get after defeating this team, and also define how much gold the player gets. You can also define which and how many items this team will drop. Taking a look at our item prefabs again, I would like to get a potion after defeating this team. And you can do the same with equipable items. And in this case, let us choose the sword, for example. For the second team, I only want 1 enemy. Let's go with the snake here, and defeating it will grant us 10 XP and 5 gold. And it won't drop any items. Next, under battle settings, we need to assign a battle background, and for this we can go into the sprites folder, and within the battle background folder we can choose the fitting overworld background. simply drag and drop the sprite into the slot, and you can keep the music settings as they are, but if you want to provide your own, you can enter the tracks you want to use from the audio manager. Activate on enter means that a battle will immediately start when entering the battle area. We don't want that for this battle area. We also don't want to start a battle when leaving the battle area. And with single battle, this battle area will deactivate itself automatically after winning the first battle. With no retreat, it is possible to disable escaping from battles inside this battle area. And the last two settings, with them it is possible to mark open quests as complete, but I will explain the quest system in a future tutorial. Lastly, under debugging, we can confirm during runtime the encounter rate as well as the time left until the next battle. So with these settings, we can already test out our battle area. So with the running game, let's quickly take a look at the debugging values inside the inspector. Here we can see that according to the current difficulty setting, we have an encounter rate of 5, which corresponds to the easy setting. And in the game manager, we can also confirm that our game is indeed running with the easy difficulty setting. Under countdown, we can now see the remaining time that moving through this battle area will start a random battle. So let's start the first battle by walking around a bit. And the battle has started, and you can see that the countdown now resets back to a random number between 0 and the encounter rate. The enemy team now consists, as defined, of a bee and 2 slimes, which is the first team that we created inside the battle area. And in the battle, you can choose between normal attacking an enemy or using a skill. You can also use consumable items or even escape from the battle. For battles, it is also possible to create your own enemies, and for this we take another look at the enemies in our Prefabs folder. And the best way to create a new enemy is to just duplicate any existing enemy with Ctrl D and simply adjust the settings here. In this case, I will go with the bat and call the new enemy Strong Bat, for example. Let's select the new enemy, and inside the inspector, within the sprite renderer, you can change the sprite to anything you like. There are already a few enemy sprites you can use inside the sprites folder, but I will keep the same sprite for the strong bat for now. Further down within the battle character component, we can now adjust the settings for the new enemy. We can ignore the settings under initialization as they are reserved for the player characters, which I will explain next time. And the character checkbox also refers to player characters, so leave this one disabled as well. But we need to adjust the character name to strong bat here as well. Ignore the values below the name up until the enemy difficulty settings, as they are also reserved for the player characters. For enemies, we concentrate on all these values here, where we can now define the max HP for the 3 difficulty settings. As this is a stronger version of the bat, I will go with 23 for easy, 24 for normal, and 26 for hard. You can also do the same for the strength, which refers to the damage the enemy can deal, and as well as for the defense, which refers to how attacking the enemy will be converted into damage dealt by the player. And after that, you only need to register the enemy inside the battle manager under the Prefabs tab, the same way as registering new items inside the game manager, by expanding the list of existing enemies by 1 and dragging the respective enemy prefab into the new slot. And with this, the new enemy is ready to be used for your enemy teams. So, and that's it for the battle area and enemy tutorial. Thank you very much for watching, and please consider subscribing to my channel to always get the newest updates and tutorials.